This is the Muddy Boots Podcast, a podcast for those who have been or are stuck in the mud. Building a community of those who are with each other all the way. All right, well, welcome to the Muddy Boots Podcast. This is episode 3, and we're excited. It seems like there's a lot of good stuff happening. We've had a lot of good responses from you. We actually have our first candidate for what we should call the people who are watching. I don't know if you saw that.
I didn't.
Oh, it's Muddy Buddies.
Muddy Buddies.
What do you think of that?
I don't know.
I mean, have you ever had a Muddy Buddy?
No.
You don't know what they are?
No. What's a Muddy Buddy?
Oh, so do you like Chex? Like Chex cereal?
Yeah, like Chex Mix and all of that. Yeah.
So Muddy Buddies are Chex cereal with like chocolate and cinnamon, and they're like clustered up, and like if you have a sweet tooth, Muddy Buddies are for real.
Oh, well.
Is that you?
No.
Okay. Well, I mean,
I don't have a sweet tooth.
I like Muddy Buddies.
Oh, good. I'm glad you like Muddy Buddies.
Well, also, it was my wife who said Muddy Buddies would be good.
Do you want to do Muddy Buddies?
No, I don't know. I think it's the first candidate, so
okay.
Maybe you can vote on it. If you think Muddy Buddies is a good one, just let us know.
Yeah, because who am I?
Yeah, and we haven't had any other suggestions, so
right.
I guess that's part of it. Is if you guys want to suggest something, that we're totally down. Because mine wasn't good.
No, yours was not.
It's okay.
Not a little.
It's okay.
Okay.
So episode 3 still sponsored by Washington Trust Bank. So
yeah. You know what? And I've actually opened a savings account there.
Oh, nice.
Because they do so much good in the community. Why wouldn't I? Let's walk the talk, shall we? Let's walk the talk.
I love it. Yes, our sponsor today is Washington Trust Bank. With over 40 locations across Oregon, Washington, and Idaho, Washington Trust is the oldest and largest privately held commercial bank in the Northwest. Washington Trust believes in doing what's right for their communities and is proud to sponsor YMCA of Columbia-Willamette. Washington Trust Bank, member FDIC. So we're outside today. This is a beautiful setting. We're right next to the Washougal River, which is
Little Washougal.
Little Washougal. What's the difference?
Well, you have the Little Washougal, and then you have the Big Washougal. This is the Little Washougal. So that would probably be, I don't know, the difference.
Okay, but do they call it like? Let's say I look on a map, geographical map.
Yeah.
Does it say Little Washougal, Big Washougal?
It kind of does.
Oh, really?
The Little Washougal actually flows into the Washougal River, and that would be called a confluence.
Oh, okay.
Oh, yeah.
See, I don't know a lot of this kind of, what do they call it? Topographical, not topographical.
I don't know.
Like rivers, lakes, tributaries, all that.
Yeah.
What do they call that?
Well, I know, because I can see you're doing all that.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Anyway, so today,
yes,
I thought it would be good because we've had some recent really cool things at the YMCA, at the Clark YMCA specifically, to talk about grief.
Yeah.
I know it's not like the lightest subject, but we made a commitment.
We did
to not shy away from the serious, deep topics.
True. I got a haircut.
You look fantastic. I didn't, which is why I'm wearing a hat.
Well, I just had to,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I will throw out there though that my hat, if you can see, I know it's black on black, but it's the Miami Dolphins, and they're doing great this year.
That's fantastic.
At the recording of this podcast, they're doing great.
What is this, like July 5th?
No, yeah, you don't want to age it, so I appreciate that.
I'm kidding.
But
yeah.
But
they're doing fantastic, and the season hasn't started.
They're doing great now.
They've actually played a couple of games,
and they've played well.
That's good.
Yeah, I'm stoked.
I'm so happy for you.
So grief is what we're going to talk about today.
Okay.
Right. So, well, let's start here. A couple days ago at the recording of this podcast, we actually had to put our cat Bella down.
Yeah. I'm sorry.
Yeah, thank you. She was 15-year-old cat.
Yeah.
We've had her, to give you some context, our daughter is 15.
Yeah.
We got them both around the same time.
Yeah. The cat before, actually.
Yeah. And so our kids have never known life without Bella.
Right.
We have had like basically 3/4 of our marriage has been with Bella with us.
True.
So it was difficult.
It's hard.
Yeah.
I remember when we lost Abe. I mean, oh my God. You don't think you're going to be affected that way? But the literal amount of snot crying that goes on.
I was a hot mess, Roger.
Yeah. You're still a hot mess. It's too soon.
It's true. It's too soon. It's too soon.
You're still a hot mess. I can make you cry at any moment if I want.
Yeah, please.
It's my chaplain thing.
Yeah, I know you could, but
I could.
I won't. That's not what we're doing here today. We can do that off air.
Yeah, we will.
That's a plane.
That is a plane.
So there's a lot of where we're at right now. I think there's a lot of planes that like take off near here.
Well, there's
right?
a small airport over there.
Okay, there is a small airport here.
There is.
Does anybody do like the what do you call that? The
crop dusting?
No.
What?
No, I did that earlier.
I'm sure you did.
But no, the planes that take off from like amphibious, they take off from the water.
Oh,
What do they call those?
Well, let's see. We would call those water planes.
There you go.
I'm
You know what we need?
I don't know what we need.
I know what we need. We need a fact checker.
We do.
We need someone who's sitting right over here.
Oh,
so
my
if there's
God.
any volunteers for our next
Wouldn't that be awesome?
our
to
next
have a fact
podcast,
checker?
we need a fact checker.
There you go, Roger. You're a liar.
Yeah. And then they could say, like, when I'm stumbling over what the heck I'm talking about, they could say, no, this is what we're talking about.
Pontoon plane.
Pontoon. See?
Pontoon.
Thank
See?
you.
I know.
Thank you.
I know. I'm here for you, buddy.
Yeah. I appreciate that.
All the way.
All the way.
All the way.
So, it's not crying. Like, I mean, I'm just a mess. The vet's like, hey, can I give you a minute? I'm like, yeah, you can give me several minutes and get out of the room because I'm literally like a mess. I don't want to weep in front of you. So,
Right.
And this with an animal.
Yeah. And I get the text.
Yeah, you
Bella
got the
died.
text.
Yeah.
Now, why does it? I mean, what is it about us giving away our hearts in such a way to even animals that we would allow ourselves to get that close to something, knowing full well that we're going to outlive it?
Yeah, absolutely.
What is it about humanity that is willing to give our hearts away like that?
Well, that's the thing. It's like, and I know people don't like to hear it, outside the church or whatever, and even inside the church because they're so prosperity gospel. It's, God can just flat gave his heart away. Right?
Yeah.
And he goes, I want you to love me, not because I want you to love me, and not because I can make you love me, although I could because I'm all powerful and all of that, right? Omni everything. No, of your own free will, I want you to love me. Every parent wants their children to love them of their own free will, not because they're supposed to, but because they want to. And when we get to our pets, like a cat, a dog, right?
Yeah.
They give it away. They give their love away and say, love me.
Right.
I will love you. I don't care if you've had the worst day in the world. Matter of fact, how many times have we seen somebody kick a cat or a dog and they still come back and say, I love you.
Right.
Yeah. If that isn't God incarnate, I don't know what is. So when you experience that kind of love, unconditional love, and you take it in, how can you not be affected in the way we've been affected by the passing of one of ours?
Yeah. That's a great point. And even more to the point, I think about God's heart and all that.
Yeah.
I mean, how many human beings
Right.
Because he loves he so loved the world, right? Humanity.
Yeah. Okay, when he says he so loved the world, that was everybody. Everybody. Not a certain amount, not the ones that prayed right, not the ones that did a certain amount of, oh, look at me, I've been to church every day, or whatever, right? No, he just loved everybody.
Right. And not everybody loves him.
And not everybody loves him. Exactly.
So how much grieve his heart.
Yeah, absolutely.
To think about that.
Yeah. Not everybody loves you. Not everybody loves me. Grieves our heart. We still love them.
Right. We try.
Well, we do our best.
You might do a better job than me sometimes.
I'm not so sure.
Okay. There's some people that are really hard to love.
Yeah, but you know what?
I'm hard to love.
The ones that are hardest to love are the ones that need it the most.
That's true. I'm hard to love.
Well, I love you.
That's good.
I know.
Thanks.
Not a problem.
So, grief is hard. What's what are your experience? What's your experience with grief?
Oh my God. I've got a lot because I'm old.
Yeah.
I will talk about my grandfather.
Okay.
Eventually. But I want to talk about my high school buddy, Brad.
Okay.
I just found out yesterday that he died. He was one of those that I wasn't born I was born in Chicago. We moved to St. Francis, Kansas in the 6th grade. I spent the next 2.5 years getting beat up, right? Because I was a small kid. I was 4'11", 60 pounds. I got stuffed in lockers. Oh my God. Yeah. And then all of a sudden I became, I happened to be good at something.
What was
everybody, it was football. And so everybody was like riding the gravy train on that. And so, but then Brad showed up my senior year, and he came from Indiana, and he was a kid who was small originally, and he came from a really bad family. He was getting his butt whipped, and he had decided in the 7th grade that enough was enough. And so he started lifting weights. So when he showed up, he was like 5'9", 225, solid muscle bodybuilder, right? This guy was something. He'd never wrestled before, but was an undefeated state champ.
Wait,
never.
His first year wrestling was senior year?
Yeah. He just picked people up and throw them down.
Dang.
Yeah, he was
and
that
wrestling's
guy.
a skill sport, so that's crazy.
Yeah, it was nuts.
Wow.
Yeah, and it wasn't like we were in a area of the country that was on the wrestling lowdown, right? Oh, no, they wrote books about the Northwest Kansas area and how good they were. And he just rocked it.
Wow.
And so I went off to play football. He went off to wrestle. And his sophomore year, in college, he got in a bar fight. Not something that's unheard of, right? And so he kind of beat this guy because it's Brad. And the guy goes out to his car, his pickup truck, because it is Colorado.
I was going to say.
It's Colorado.
Yeah, let's not stereotype, but there's a stereotype for a reason, right?
Yeah. And grabs a shotgun. And Brad comes walking out of the bar. And you know what Brad does? He doesn't run away. He runs at the guy, at him. The guy gets scared, drops the gun, and we all said, well, he should have shot him, right? It would have been better for the guy if he'd have shot. Brad pummels him, and ends up going to jail, and ends up having to go either jail or the Marines. He picks the Marines. No. It's kind of funny because when I talk about how I won the tough man competition at the University of Wyoming in the day, he won the tough man competition for the Marines. Okay? Think of the toughest thing we do and winning the tough man competition for that.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. And that was Brad. right? He ended up being Mr. Indiana in a bodybuilding back after the Marines, and ended up going to Hollywood, and he was an actor. And I can remember we stayed in contact and everything, and I guess it was at our 40th. He goes, we're sitting there across eating dinner, and he goes, Roger, when do the nightmares end? I go, Brad, the nightmares aren't going to end for you. But I'm always going to be here for you. So we'll talk. And so it was funny when my buddy Tim Riley, right, my best friend from high school, he calls me and he spends about 20 minutes on the phone before he decides to tell me about Brad, because I think he's a little worried about how I'm going to take it. I didn't know how I was going to react, right?
Yeah.
And the more as it went on, the more it hit me that my buddy Brad was dead. And here's a guy who fitness was everything.
Yeah.
And he's dead. So it kind of hit me. So grief and loss, right?
Yeah.
Now we talk about my grandfather, right? So it actually hit the book that I wrote a million times ago. Things my grandfather taught me. When I was in the Navy and I was in Nav school in Orlando, I called home. And it's back in the day with the payphones with the stack of quarters, right? And you put all the quarters into the payphone. I know, you're pretty young.
I still do remember the payphones, but I mean, we did have cellular phones by the time I was in my 20s, at least.
Yeah, well, no, not me.
Yeah.
So I call home and nobody's home. My grandfather answers. And he's pulling the old, I don't know him. No. And I'm going, just accept the call. Just accept.
He
He's
didn't know you?
Yeah. And finally he accepts the call. He's just laughing the whole time, right? And so we had this great conversation. And he's telling me how proud he was of me and everything else. And at the end of the phone call, I was like, I just got to tell this guy I love him. I wanted to. But you know what? Our family, we didn't say the L word. We weren't that, right? So I didn't. And I'm sitting in class the next afternoon, and the Red Cross comes in and hands me a slip of paper. Your grandfather died this morning.
Wow.
Yeah. So that was huge. That was like, did I know he loved me, that he knew I loved him? Yeah, I'm pretty dang sure that.
Yeah.
Right? But I didn't tell him. And so from that moment on, I've always told people that I loved them, because I didn't want that to happen. I didn't want them going away if I happened to die wondering, did he really? Right?
Right.
Yeah. Or if they died, I just wanted them to know. So do I tell people I love them more than I should? Maybe. But that's something my grandfather taught me.
That makes a lot of sense, though. How old were you?
22.
Okay, so you young.
Right after college.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that brings up, like, I think about, my dad passed away 9 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
And the ebbs and flows of grief and loss. Because, the lie is really that there's it's not a lie, it's just misinterpreted.
Mm-hmm.
The 5 stages of grief.
Absolutely.
That they're linear, right?
Yeah, they are not linear.
And they're not like, it almost seems like they're never ending.
Right.
Like they ebb and flow. Sometimes the wave crashes over it when you least expect it. Or I remember driving down the road. I was on Highway 14. I wasn't driving, like I own his Bronco now, but I wasn't driving that.
Yeah.
I was just driving my car. I'm driving down Highway 14 for no reason at all. This is 5 years after he passed. I had to pull over because I thought about him and just started weeping.
Oh, yeah.
5 years later.
Yeah.
No reason.
No.
It just came out of nowhere.
So here's the thing. So my mom died of cancer, and the family went down. We got there just before she died, and we all got to say goodbye. Matter of fact, I was the one that said, "Mom, it's okay to go." But I was so busy being a chaplain to the rest of the family that I didn't grieve.
Right.
I was so busy working, right? Time goes by. I'm doing continuing education credits. I'm in Columbus, Mississippi at a chaplain thing, right? We're doing death notices.
Okay.
And I lose it. I completely lost it in front of everybody. Mom came back, right? In front of 40 people.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that's just when you want to lose it in front of 40. Yeah. Snot crying in front of 40, and they're looking at you like, what's going on?
Do we need to call somebody right now? Like, has he lost it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Totally. So, yeah, if you skip the grieving process, it's not like you're going to get there faster. Oh, no, you just kind of stop right there, and it's going to come rushing back.
Right, right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's important for people to know that there's not, the process is, it's almost like it's unending.
Yeah.
And that's okay.
That's okay. Just know what it is.
Yeah, know what it is.
And that's one of the best things we do at our Y is we do grief and loss classes.
Yeah.
And my God, I cannot believe how helpful they are. And I'm not saying that just because they're at our, I'm the Siskel and Ebert of these things. And I was like, yeah, the first time I saw it, yeah, is it? And we ran through a couple of classes. I went, oh my God, this is really good. And we are running those things left and right.
Yeah.
And people want them and they need them.
They do need them. I'm grateful for them because my mother-in-law went through it.
Right, exactly.
And she needed it. I mean, she desperately needed a group of people to walk through her grief with.
And they're not a class that, so I started them.
Yeah.
But then when I started training people up, they had to go through the class. Then they went through as a TA to the instructor.
Mm-hmm.
Then they went through again as an instructor under instruction before ever being turned loose in one of the classes.
Right.
So there's a process.
Yeah.
Because we don't want to hurt anybody.
No. Let me ask you a question. It might sound weird, but I'm weird, and so I want to make sure that I'm not deranged.
Well, you are.
Okay. How important is laughter in the grieving process?
Well, as a chaplain, laughter is one of my best tools because most of the time I'm sitting with people in trauma.
Mm-hmm.
And levity, for whatever reason, brings them up a notch to where all of a sudden they can start hearing what you need to say.
Right.
And so laughter is huge.
Yeah.
Crying is huge. Laughter is huge.
And so many times laughter can bring up, like because of the emotional response laughter brings, it almost opens you up to crying.
Yeah. Yeah. No, they're very much right here. Crying and laughter are right here. And, we have the chair in my office.
Yeah.
It's the crying chair. People
sure
just can't sit in it without crying. And it's like, yeah. Right?
Right.
Yeah. And it's usually brought on by some goofy thing I said to make them laugh.
Right.
Yeah. Here's a trick.
Yeah. No, it's good. Grief, I think, is it's something that we all deal with because we lose, and we all lose, whether it be an animal.
Whether it's an animal, a job,
a
relationship, a death, whatever. Grief is grief and loss is loss.
Yeah. Maybe just expand on that a little bit because I think people need to hear that it's not just a death.
No.
I think it's that gets missed in the whole thing is because there's many people that have lost several different things throughout the last 5 years,
Yeah.
not just loved
No.
ones.
Well, that's it. And that's the thing. I've had a lot of people go, well, I didn't actually lose anything. No, but you've lost relationship. You lost a job. You lost society,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
Being locked up.
Right.
There's loss that you just don't realize. And this whole thing was, we're all going through trauma. I mean, look at what's going on. It's trauma-based stuff,
Right.
you know? I mean,
so much.
yeah. And, that's the thing that I love about our why is the fact that we lead with love. People come in, and I don't care what it is, but we're loving on them, and they see it, and they feel it, and they respond to it.
Yeah. So while we're in this sort of sensitive space, I want to stay here for just a minute, maybe go even a little bit deeper.
Okay.
And recently at the Clark YMCA, we had the Suicide Prevention and Awareness Summit.
Mm-hmm.
It's called Shine a Light.
Yeah.
I know you were not able to be there. You were on
No,
vacation.
I was in Minnesota at the time.
Yep. Mm-hmm. But I did get it. I had the opportunity to be there.
Okay.
And I was doing some filming there. And
Yeah.
and I know you've worked with a lot of families that were there because they've come through the Y.
Absolutely.
And we've had circumstances where you've had to be a chaplain.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I was blown away. First of all, that we were doing it. I just thought, man, this is such a good thing in our community. I think even Fox News covered it because it was that
big.
people knew about it. It's big deal.
Big deal.
NAMI helped put it on, and
Yeah.
so that was the partnership there. There were tons of sponsors, tons of people that wanted to get the word out, and we had survivor stories, people who tried to commit suicide. We had parent stories of their kids who had committed suicide and bringing awareness to that and why it happens. And suicide's tough.
Yeah.
It's there's times when it's just like it's a shock. Well, it's always a shock. I feel like that's the one thing that there's always like, why?
Yeah. Even if you knew it was coming with somebody.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like, did they really do it? Why? What the heck?
Right.
Yeah. I know.
Sometimes they don't even know.
That's coming from a guy who's like,
almost did it.
yeah, I made
Several.
a plan. Yeah.
Yeah. And thankfully someone asked you, do you have a plan?
Yeah.
Right. So, and that was the whole thing was we can be safe people and we can look out for the warning signs. So when it comes to grief and loss too, we can look out for the warning signs of people who, are you okay? Have you thought about, like even asking that question? I think people have a fear of asking that question, but I think it's really
because it's
important.
uncomfortable.
Yeah.
It's like this, when people walk up and you say, good morning, they go, how are you? Right, how you doing? They don't really want to know. They're just saying hi.
Right.
Right. So a lot of times I'll answer, I'm gassy. And I go, whoa, just to get there. So it brings them out of that to where, okay, now we see one another.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. And are we struggling? Which brings us back around to the reason why we're doing this.
Yeah.
To help people take off the mask.
Take them off.
And when we ask, what if when we asked each other, how are you doing? We were ready for the actual answer.
Exactly. What would that look like?
I know.
Right?
How would that change society?
How would that change? Yeah. My mom just died, or my car's broke, or I don't have enough money for food, or.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. I mean, how would that, how many times have we done this, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's hard to, when you got that tattooed on your arm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very much so.
Yeah.
Well, anything else you want to say on this topic, or it might be a good place to end? I don't know.
I think this might be a good place to end. It's kind of rough.
Yeah.
Just know that we have people that care.
Mm-hmm.
There's we're the why. We're here for you.
Yeah.
So come on in. Let's have a conversation. You don't even need to talk to me. My God, we have a whole team,
Right.
right?
Absolutely.
It's crazy. It's crazy.
Whole team of people that care a lot.
Yeah, a lot.
And that's pretty rare and
Yeah,
pretty
I'd say
cool.
so. I think so.
So I'm stoked to be a part of it.
Me too.
So yeah, we love you so much. And
Yep.
if you struggle with any of this, reach out.
Reach out.
Reach out for help.
Yeah, I'd like to hear comments on this and, on everything,
Yeah.
right? And if you can come up with something better than Muddy Buddies,
Hey, Muddy Buddy's second best right now, or first best right now.
first best.
Out of two. It's number 1 out of 2.
Yeah, it's 1 out of 2. Oh, my God.
Hey,
I got to start coming up with something because is this what we're getting with?
listen, I've given you so much time now. If you haven't figured it out yet, we're going with Muddy Buddies.
I'm slow.
All right. Okay, we'll hold off.
Okay.
Muddy Buddies is number 1 right now.
Number 1, Muddy Buddies.
But we won't make a decision until the end of season 1. Which
Okay.
I don't know when that'll be, but
What is season 1?
I don't know.
I don't either. Come on.
You want to go 4 episodes?
No, don't. Why are you holding up 5 fingers with 4 episodes? Is math hard?
You want to go 6 episodes?
Yeah. Let's go. 10 episodes.
What's a season? Probably 8. Probably 8. 8 feels right.
Okay, 8.
Yeah, 8 feels right.
We'll do 8. What is that?
Right. Season 1 is 8. We have to make a decision by season 2, episode 1. Okay?
And that's 8 episodes.
That's the 9th episode,
yes.
right?
Okay.
Simple math.
Math is hard.
Okay.
That's
We
what-
love you.
Yeah, love you.
Have an amazing week, and we'll see you next time.
Bye.